So, you've clicked on the video for one of three reasons. One, to spam in the comments that I'm wrong. Two, to argue your point against mine. Or because you want to see my point. So, either way, whatever you're here for, I'm glad you clicked on the video. This is my personal opinion, obviously. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinion, but this is just my personal opinion. And yeah, I'm gonna get straight into it. Hopefully you do enjoy the video. Yeah, let's just get on with it. So when it comes to Assassin's Creed Parkour, I feel as if Unity is heavily ranked because of how it looks. Now don't get me wrong, Unity is a very stylish game. It looks very nice. The parkour looks absolutely on point. But there are a few things that are just what in it. You know what I mean? Like all games have it, but Unity is just a bit of what. If you get what I mean. What I mean by that is the game is very focused on style. It's not super practical. Like some of it is practical, don't get me wrong, but it is a very stylish game. It's very good looking parkour, but it's not like the easiest to pull off, and it's not super realistic either. So yeah, but like I said, this is my opinion, personal opinion. But if we're talking about practicality and like realistic, it just doesn't work in my opinion, because obviously you've got some moves that are like super realistic, super like proper, that you could do in real life in Unity, obviously. But at the same time, you've got some moves where they're just kind of like, what is that? I'm talking about mostly, you know, when like Arno's like running through the city and you're like on like a really high tower and you gotta get down real quick and there's no synchronization point or any of that jazz. Arno just drops and grabs like super quickly. Obviously, like Ezio Altair do it. Like I get that. Like I understand that point. But what I'm trying to say is Arno just does it so far down, because obviously the ceilings, the buildings aren't as high in Assassin's Creed 1 and Assassin's Creed 2. They're still pretty high, don't get me wrong. Some of them are anyway. But Unity's heights are just ridiculous. Like if you go to the church, I think it's the highest point on the map in Unity, and not use synchronization point, you can be down there in like 10 seconds, maybe a little bit more. So it's just kind of like, what is that? Instead of like dropping down, like being very careful, not really super like crazily dropping down, you kind of like in the old games like Brotherhood that I'm showing gameplay of right now. Brotherhood, the buildings aren't super high, so it actually makes sense, whereas Unity's like really high drops just do not make sense really. Like if you were to do that in real life, I think you would probably die. Like I think when I drop, if I go really fast and then cling on to something, I feel like the pressure would probably knock the thing off or something like that. I'm not super well with science, but I feel like something like that would happen. But also, Unity as a game, like it just looks good. What I mean, I know I'm going back to the looks a lot, but that is like the main thing about it. That's why people love it, because it looks the best. But if we go to the old games like Brotherhood 2, 1 and Revelations, like you can go on a building and jump to the left like I just did as Ezio. But I feel like that's pretty realistic. That's something that would happen. Like you have so much more, you're so much bigger of an arsenal in the old games, and it's just you can put it to the test, and it's more of skill, whereas Unity's just kind of like run around, hold buttons. The old games require a bit of skill to actually pull off some parkour things. Some of it doesn't, don't get me wrong. I picked it up pretty quickly, but some of it requires skill. And Unity is just holding buttons, and don't get me wrong, you are kind of holding buttons in Brotherhood 2, Revelations and 1, but it's more of you've got to be skillful with it. You got to time your grips, you've got to like time when you're gonna jump, you got to make sure like you don't jump in the right way, all that jazz. Whereas in Unity you just kind of like run, jump, oh I gotta go to the side, jump, oh what's that, I don't have to time a grip because it auto grips, oh wow. It's just kind of like I'm not really doing anything. It's more of just being a bit lazy in my opinion. like obviously this is my opinion. Like everyone has their own personal opinion, so feel free to like go ballistic at me in the comments. But I also want to move on to the fact that I think AC1's parkour is good. Because obviously a lot of people say like, oh, the parkour's good apart from the climbing is so slow. But I feel like that climbing fits an assassin, and here's why. Because obviously we have certain characters. We've got like every single Assassin's Creed protagonist has their own kind of like thing about them. Ezio and Altair are like the smart ones. Connor's like the really strong one, like the very fit body one. You've got Arno, who's the quick one. You've got Shay, Shay and Edward are just kind of like the brutal ones. So again, strength. But what I'm ultimately trying to say is, in Assassin's Creed 1, Altair is like super smart. It fits the character. When he's climbing, I feel like he's like planning out his next move. Like he's planning, alright, I've climbed there, do I go up to the left and all that jazz, everything like that. I feel like it just fits his character. And obviously Ezio is a bit faster and can climb much quicker, but I feel like he's still as smart as Altair. Maybe he just like his brain works a bit quicker or something like that. But ultimately what the purpose of this video is to say everyone can have their own opinions about Assassin's Creed, parkour and all that jazz, everything to do with Assassin's Creed, but this is my personal opinion. This is probably a bit of a controversial one, because like my Basim video teleportation one was very controversial. It got like 2.4k views, something like that, because everyone disagreed with it. You probably all disagree with this one. Maybe if you don't, thank you, but obviously this is my personal opinion. I'm not saying that your opinion's wrong, that you think Unity is the best. I will agree it is one of the best in the series, but in terms of how good the game is, people mostly play it because of how good it looks. It's not like everything else about it is just kind of like average for an Assassin's Creed game, in my opinion. So yeah, that's just my thoughts. Thank you for just sitting and watching the video. I've probably rambled on way too long, but yeah, like, subscribe if you want more AC content. Mirage content will be out as soon as the game drops. Probably maybe the same day, maybe the next day, something like that. But yeah, thank you for stopping to watch the video in the first place, and yeah, have a good day, evening, night, afternoon, morning, all that jazz, whatever time you're watching this. So yeah, peace.